of people are getting prepared for the next pandemic. Can you believe it? I mean, it seems that bird flu is already gaining momentum worldwide as possible next pandemic. And if you believe the pundits on social media, that's absolutely what's going to happen. Now, it depends on what you are following right now, but bird flu is definitely getting a little bit of a brand recognition. I think it's almost like a branding exercise. For me, COVID-19 was a branding exercise, and I think bird flu is coming up right hot on the heels of that. Joining me today is a guest that needs little introduction. He is an eminent epidemiologist and cardiologist, Dr. Peter McCullough. Mr. McCullough was part of the force that was very, very early on came out and started to show people what is going on with these COVID-19 vaccines, and he was one of the first people to speak out about their safety and efficacy. Dr. McCullough, thank you so much for joining me today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Look, let's just get down to basics with bird flu. I mean, what is the bird flu, and is it particularly dangerous for humans?
Bird flu is known as H5N1, highly pathogenic avian influenza. It's been around for over 100 years, as published by Lysette and colleagues from the UK. So it comes in waves. The current strain of bird flu, as we've published from the McCullough Foundation, looks like it has actually occurred because of human agency. And what I mean by that is gain of function research done at the USDA Poultry Research Center in Athens, Georgia, the University of Wisconsin, and Erasmus University in the Netherlands. And collaborators at these three institutions have gotten bird flu to move into waterfowl, so ducks and migratory birds, as well as mammals, cattle and sea mammals. So the virus has made its spread in terms of interspecies spread, but it's become far less virulent or dangerous. We have not seen large numbers of birds or other animals die due to this illness. No radiographic or necropsy confirmation of serious pneumonia. We've had the fourth human case reported in the United States as a mild case of pink eye. And so fortunately, this misadventure, this government gain of function research misadventure is adding up to a pretty mild outbreak of bird flu in terms of pathogenicity in animals and humans.
Well, that's actually astounding to me because, of course, I had read a little bit about that. But in Australia, we are killing hundreds of thousands of chickens. I mean, why are we doing that?
United States, they're actually killing millions of chickens. So from the time from an egg to a fully grown chicken can be as short as 90 days. So farmers look at this as just kind of an inventory stock and restock phenomenon. The reason why culling or intentionally killing all the birds will not work is it's not going to eradicate bird flu because it's being spread by mallard ducks and waterfowl. So they'll just repopulate the farms and spread the virus again. So culling's not going to work. It is destroying, perfectly good sources of protein, and it's just going to work to constrain the food supply. In the United States, the government is going on farms, paying farmers to do PCR testing of the healthy chickens. They find a false positive PCR, and then they pay the farmers to kill all the poultry. It's a giant waste of money. It's a giant sacrifice of birds and the food supply. And what we should do is just allow this to run its course, let the birds get natural immunity, let the farmers and farm workers get natural immunity. In humans, we can use iodine sprays and gargles. We've extended various forms of treatment kits to include oseltamivir and 3 other antivirals, hydroxychloroquine. We can treat this. We've never lost a single person in the United States due to bird flu. It's not going to happen now.
Well, I mean, so we're going back to, once again, governments controlling narratives, the media coming out and creating scare campaigns and talking about bird flu as though it's something that's actually going to kill you or it's going to make you extremely sick if you get it. So once again, we're going back into this cycle of lies and misinformation without actually understanding all of the facts.
They're using legacy human mortality data. There are about, in the last several decades, there's somewhere around 800 to 900 cases of human bird flu, 4 more in the United States. and the published mortality rates between 40 and 50%. But these are legacy data, largely from Southeast Asia, Vietnam. This is where farm workers in very impoverished areas sleep with the chickens. They get massive exposure to some of these more previously virulent strains, and they get no health care, no early treatment, no ICU care. This 40 to 50% mortality rate doesn't apply to today's strain, which looks very mild, and with modern early treatment, we've got this.
Yes, we'll be back in a moment, Dr. McCullough, after this short break. You're listening to Melinda Richards on TNT. I'm here with cardiologist and epidemiologist, global sensation now, Dr. Peter McCullough. Dr. McCullough, I guess for this chat right now, what I'd really like to move into is vaccinations. Now, you were one of the first people to come out and speak publicly as a doctor when you noticed lots of things going on with patients after the COVID-19 vaccinations. Now, just linking back to the discussion about bird flu, what is really worrying is not only what we just spoke about with government intervention, some misinformation clearly not getting out there, or disinformation. Maybe it's just that we're not being given the full picture. But of course, we are also seeing some news stories coming out and talking about bird flu vaccinations being rolled out worldwide. I mean, what's your initial reaction to this?
We should never vaccinate into a highly prevalent respiratory viral pandemic. Never. And it's a mistake from the outset because the virus will mutate in order to thrive among the vaccinated. That's the reason why the COVID-19 vaccines completely failed. It's a failed strategy from the outset. The United States had already approved in 2021 the human bird flu vaccine by CSL Seqirus Audens. It's a monovalent antigen-based vaccine. Now, the virus has mutated on, so that vaccine is antiquated, and it was, never tested in humans to see if it prevents bird flu. It was only tested to see if antibodies were elevated. But sadly, there was an increase in mortality with that vaccine compared to placebo. Now CSL has a self-replicating messenger RNA human bird flu vaccine. So does the Gates Foundation with CEPI. And now we've learned that the EU has purchased 40 million doses of this CSL Audens Seqirus vaccine. In fact, Finland started vaccinating humans this week. Even our FDA vaccine director, Peter Marks, was in Washington saying, listen, this vaccine is off target. It's not coded against the right strain. 2 days ago, the U.S. government said it invested $176 million in Moderna for a messenger RNA bird flu vaccine. This is a giant mistake. Self-replicating or even pseudo-uridinated messenger RNA is going to produce the dangerous hemagglutinin spike protein from influenza, and it's going to have all the same problems, in fact, probably worse than the COVID vaccines.
I suppose I'm sitting here listening to you talk, thinking, and I can't stop thinking, are we just going back to the future? Are we just going to make the same mistake all over again globally? Are we seriously going to head down this path? I mean, it's almost unbelievable to me as I listen to you talk about every single step that you've just mentioned. We just went through with the COVID-19 vaccinations, and we are literally repeating history, and not even 2 years down the track or 2.5 years down the track.
Well, this is actually our third. So we've had SARS-CoV-2, the virus, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Then it was monkeypox.
Oh,
the World Health Organization declared a global monkeypox emergency. The United States called a countrywide and public health emergency. Monkeypox vaccines were purchased for everybody to take them. And we quickly got ahead of this in the news cycle and said, no, this is not spreading the way people think. It's by a gay and bisexual spread. Previous smallpox vaccines were protective. We had a drug called tecovirimat in order to treat it. Now we're ahead on bird flu, saying, listen, the current strain is mild. We can use dilute iodine nasal sprays and gargles to treat it, oral drugs, even IV antivirals, antibiotics if needed. We don't need human vaccination. And I predict like monkeypox, which was a giant flop, by the way.
I think they had a branding problem with that one, frankly. I think there was just too many funny memes coming out and too much poking fun at the name. I think their branding was just all wrong on that disease.
Well, listen, listen, you're right. Monkeypox was a ridiculous brand name for a disease and a vaccine campaign, but bird flu is no better. And, you know, when I talk to my patients, I ask them, are you going to line up for our bird flu vaccine? You know, I don't have any takers. No one's interested in a bird flu vaccine that's not a threat to humans.
You know, and I think if doctors really come onto the front line on this, I think there were a number of doctors that possibly let us down during 2020 and 2021 because there was just so much, there was such a wave of information being thrown at the medical community about this pandemic. But I think doctors now are also part of the group that are waking up and that are taking a second look. And it's probably up to doctors now to advise their patients, listen, I know you've heard about the bird flu vaccine. You might have talked about the bird flu vaccine with your friends and family. Maybe you've seen it in the media, but can I say that there is no need for you to take a bird flu vaccine? I mean, is this something that you think the medical community can now come on the front foot on?
I can tell you I'm the chief scientific officer of the wellness company, big doctors group. We're advising no bird flu vaccines. We have early treatment kits for the farm workers. We have, probably about 100,000 close farm workers, about 1 million in a bigger penumbra in our country. No need for human bird flu vaccines and no need for animal or poultry vaccines. The Chinese have tried to vaccinate the chickens for 20 years now. It just backfires. They spread it around more. Nobody wants to eat vaccinated chicken meat.
I think the thing too is that we just keep losing sight of the fact that if we follow the science, we're really following the money. And, you know, the thing that's happening now is that people are starting to wake up to the amounts of money involved in vaccinations. And it's not just with COVID-19 vaccinations and with bird flu vaccinations. I think there's an awareness of vaccinations in general. Now, I've never been an anti-vaxxer per se. I was always dead against the COVID-19 vaccine right out of the gate. I never believed it was a vaccine to begin with, and I just knew that it was wrong. But I certainly believe that there was probably a place for vaccines once upon a time, but I don't know what's in them anymore. And when you start to look at the world of vaccines in general, I mean, we're talking about just an obscene amount of money involved.
It's true. Think about a disease process, and if you had a therapy, it would have to be narrowly applied to those who had the disease. But if you had a vaccine, it could be applied to the entire population. That's a massive difference in customers.
Yeah.
So the companies have gravitated to vaccines. They've accelerated over time. The childhood vaccine schedule, when I was a child, it was about 5 different vaccines. This has now exploded to dozens and dozens.
It is exploding. I saw a video the other
of
day.
Vaccines during childhood. They're all mandatorily administered.
Yeah. And you know, I saw a
video.
The companies the other day about a child lying on a bed and they were getting needled like it was no tomorrow. It was like bang, 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 bang. And I'm thinking that can't possibly be the new vaccine regime. It can't possibly be.
No, it is. I think at one of the infant visits in the United States, they get over a dozen shots at one time. The kids can get very sick. And then a paper by Nielsen and colleagues from Europe, I think is sobering. If a child gets a febrile seizure, and it's well documented by the parents, there's about a 40% chance they develop neurologic injury and a neuropsychiatric problem, either seizures, epilepsy, Asperger's, autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit disorder, other movement disorders. These febrile seizures are not benign. About 4% of children overall get febrile seizures, but a leading cause now is multiple, really excessive vaccination.
I think a lot of people, I mean, most people aren't anti-vax. They just want to know that they're protecting their children against those sort of core diseases that we've been protecting children against for some time. But I think the bird flu vaccine just shows us that the industry seems to be getting way out of control. I mean, is there any way to kind of get it back in control and get people aware so they can have better conversations with their GPs?
World Council for Health is advising a full halt on the childhood vaccination schedule, including the COVID-19 vaccines and any proposed bird flu vaccines. It's safer to wait for the healthy baby. 5 studies show if the children take no shots whatsoever, they're healthier than those who take the full vaccine schedule. As a doctor, I took all the vaccines. I accepted them all. I agree with you. I didn't take the COVID-19 vaccines, but in no way could I be considered anti-vax. I took them all. But at this point in time, I think we should adopt a risk stratified approach. If a child has a severe lung disease and they can benefit from respiratory illness vaccines, fine, but a normal child wouldn't. Giving hepatitis B vaccine on the first day of life is not needed unless the mother has hepatitis B or is an IV drug abuser. Giving Beyfortus, a monoclonal antibody, on the first day of life for RSV, that's excessive and it's not needed. Children get through RSV just fine. And we can go on and on. Diphtheria and pertussis are treated with azithromycin. Again, no need for a vaccine now that we have antibiotics. And so we can really winnow down the number of vaccines that would possibly be beneficial and give them later in life. I think most vaccines have relatively low risk when they're given later in life. It's just when the baby is developing, their immune system is developing, a neurologic system, there's a risk in just blasting the baby with multiple vaccines at the same time.